Hello everybody, my name is Nolan from DualGM, and today I'm going over basic interaction. And what I'm gonna start with is just making a simple object you can interact with. So how I wanna start out with this, I'm gonna make a new folder which I'm gonna call assets, and in there I wanna make a subfolder which I'm gonna call materials. And in this folder, I am gonna make a really quick material, which is material underscore light interaction. And for that, I just wanna switch it to, yeah, that's fine. And we want this to be a parameter, which is, this is gonna be the multiplier, and then we multiply this by, this is just for setting up like a default material which we can use later to modify in Blueprint. So let's say we set this to green and then put it into emissive color. Yeah, and let's set this to like 20. And it doesn't work. What did I do wrong? Oh, never mind. Default value to 20. There we go. Now we have a nice little emissive material, and let's just put this in base color. So we always have a base color, even if that's off. So what we want to do with this is really quickly an interaction. I'm just using interaction to split up my tutorial projects and make a folder here, and we will call it blueprints. In this folder, I am going to make, also I don't know why this sometimes happens, but I'm just going to make a blueprint class, which is going to be an actor, which I'm going to call a underscore interactable. Then I'm making a new folder, which I'm just gonna simply call data. And inside that data, I'm gonna make a folder, which I'm going to call interfaces. So yeah, I'm gonna come back to the interface folder in a second. So what we can do, we can pretty much make this interactable by three ways. So let's just start with the most simple one. We have the cube, and we want to apply our light mat. And actually, let me set this to, what should I set it to? Light. Let's just call it light. Actually, on begin play, create material dynamic material instance. Then we get this material and we set material. If you have a custom mesh which has, for example, different material IDs, so if it has multiple IDs, you just need to check the element you want to modify and then just copy that over in here. So if we had two materials here, and one is a lamp stand and one is, for example, a lamp color, and you have like the material set up properly, then you can just use ID 1 instead of element 0. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And what we want to do is we want to save this. So we want to promote a variable because we want to have reference to the material instance, mat underscore ref. So let me just reroute the nodes so everything is clean. Always keep your project clean, because otherwise I'm gonna hate you if I ever work with you. And we can make it really quickly. We can really quickly make a collision box, which is just gonna check for pawn collisions. So custom and overlapping Yeah, okay, that should be fine. So, and on component begin overlap. And we need also on component end overlap. And what we're gonna do next is just make a really quick character. So in the blueprints folder, let's make a blueprint class and start with a game mode, which I'm gonna call GM base. Normally you should name your blueprints properly. So what I normally do is I have a BP in-game and I have a BP lobby, BP transition, GM transition, and whatever. So I split them up into different groups for making it more obvious. And one thing I'm also doing is I'm not having like 6, 7, 8 different game modes for the project. I'm having like 2 or 3 or 4 projects, and I'm just using get level data and then determining what I do, because that just keeps everything clean and everybody can just work in one blueprint instead of having to be spread over 8, 9 blueprints to achieve the same task. Okay, so let's go into game mode. Let's keep that open and make just a simple pawn. Actually, let's just make a character. It's easier. So blueprint class character BP underscore base. Char underscore base. And what I'm gonna do with that, I'm just gonna drag and drop that over default pawn class, and then go to project settings. Make this big. Give me 1 second. Okay, good. I just made sure that I'm recording in the right settings. Then what I want to go to is input. And I already have axis mapping forward set up and axis movement right. So what I'm just gonna do is call my AXM. Oh, that's the wrong class. What I'm gonna do is just call my AXM underscore move forward and AXM underscore move right. And I'm gonna get actor rotation, and I'm gonna split this, and then I'm gonna make rotator, and I'm just gonna drag over the yaw, and then we're gonna get forward vector, get right vector, and then we just add movement input, and we're gonna do that on both. And let's make this just a bit more beautiful. Let's make it easier to look at. And normally you should comment out everything. And then I think that should be, everybody should know that. Just if you work on a bigger project, or even for yourself, just to make sure you know what's going on. And don't just like do something and never know again what it does. Because I had those issues a lot of times in the past. And yeah, it's just good practice to keep everything clean. I'm going a bit overboard with what I'm doing, so yeah. Get forward vector, there, go. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna make an interface. So inside our interfaces, we're gonna make a new blueprint interface. So interface underscore interaction. And inside the blueprint, I want to make a new function which I'm gonna call interact with item. And do we need inputs? No, we don't actually. So inside here, interact. Can I wait? I need the interact. Oh yeah, wait a second. I need to add an interface and compile. Interact. Oh wait, that's for later. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself. But we can unbegin overlap. We can get overlapping. Well, this is the first way we can. Oh, I need to do this. Get overlapping actors. And let's just filter for now by our character base class. Character base. And if length equal is bigger than, wait, let me just check, returns true if A is greater than B. So if it's bigger than 0, and let's make it an authority check. Authority. There you go. Test OS turn light on. OS underscore turn light off. This is, I'm just making it right now so whoever follows it can pretty much implement this in any kind of project, if it's network replicated or not. If it's not network replicated, you can skip what I'm doing here and just straight off go to the last node I'm gonna make. So yeah, let me just skip those. This is just pretty much checking if anybody is still overlapping with the light switch. Turn off. And let's do that both. Yeah, come on. Turn light on. And there's definitely better ways of doing that. Mainly just making a check that this doesn't rerun every time somebody steps on it, if it's like true or if it's false. So if you actually, let's make this, let's call this boolean underscore is light on. And if light is on, return this to true. If light is off, return this to false. And let's make this not wrap notify. I always do that accidentally. And just do this. And what we're gonna do is if light is already on, don't do anything with it. And if light is already off, don't do anything, but if it's on, do something. If it's off, do something. So this just prevents this little function from getting called when it shouldn't be. And let's get a variable and call it light intensity. And this is gonna be a float, which is gonna be replicated. And 20,000, actually 200 should be fine. So let's get our, first of all, custom event OA, which is a run on all, update light data. So what it's gonna be is a multicast, and within float input, which is going to be intensity. And let me drink. And with this intensity, we can set scalar parameter. And the scalar parameter we want to set is the one we made in our interactable light, which is just called light. So if we go in here and set our light to our intensity. And what we want to do now is, because this is running on server, so we want to propagate that data to our clients. So what we can just do is gonna call RA update light data, and also on top RA update light data. And we want to just get the light intensity right in here. And then with that, oops, let me just refresh those notes. It's because I changed the name before I compiled. There we go. And I think we should be done. And if I drag into Interactable blueprint, nope, I should also use the game mode we set up. Oh. GM base. Oh yeah, can't look around. Okay. It's just gonna, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna add. I'm forgetting something. You are replicated. But let's actually add input X and input Y. So input mouse X and mouse Y. X, Y. I think Y is -1. Don't know. Forgot about it. Mouse X, mouse Y. Your input wait, how is it called? It's not your give me 1 second. Oh, because this is in the wrong blueprint. Haha. Your pitch. I think those are right. I maybe need to change them. Yeah, they were wrong. So just making sure this one is right. Nope, that's definitely not right. So you need to go down here. And yeah, this should be right. If I'm not forgetting anything. Huh? What is? Wait. Give me 1 second. I don't think I need to check this out, but apparently forgot how to properly set this up. No, they're right. Oh, wait, I need to make sure I'm using actually my access mappings. So project settings, input. Let's just call them AXM underscore mouse X and AXM underscore mouse Y. And I don't think I need to -1 this, so let's just Oh, mouse Y. There we go. Found my issue. And now I need to just fresh notes. X, mouse X, and it's this one. Doop, doop, and mouse Y. Sorry, that took longer than it should. And we do not have anything that can actually overlap with that, so let's make a simple cube, which is just gonna deal as an overlapper. Probably just missing something with the overlap, with overlapping, but I'm just gonna make it the easier way for now. Movable 0.5, 0.5, and that scale looks fine. And overlap all dynamic. Yup. And now we should be able. Are the overlap events firing? Also here I needed to flip the mouse Y. Where are my project settings? Oh, I accidentally clicked on plugins. Mouse Y needs to be -1. And with this I can directly show how to debug. Have I not yeah, I entered character base, so let's just click play, and it definitely is firing. Turn lights on. Did we set intensity? Yes. So why doesn't the material change? Did I compile? Oh. I was wondering about that. There we go. Now we have a little light we can turn on. But the tutorial is not done yet, because we're gonna actually add some more ways of doing this. So, other ways of doing this part up here is we can get over. Well, this is pretty much just checking if any character can I? Okay, I can check for tags. Well, technically I can check for tags. If we have like not just one player class, we can just simply do this and has fine. We can do a for each loop of this, and we can look for example, has tag. Which we then can turn into a function, which is gonna be a pure function, and which is just gonna return, let's call it also f overlap has tag. So what we want to do is, if we have return node, and let's make a, nope, not a global variable, a local variable, which is boolean f overlap underscore boolean has item, and this is pretty much just checking if any of them have this item. If any of them have this item, we can return true. So if any of them have the item. If any of them have the tag, so if we have tag, and our character base has the tag, can I just tag? There we go. Let's just add a tag. And if I go back to Interactable and I take this down and just do the same, and now click play, we see we can interact with it. But if we say we wouldn't have that tag, so if we go back to our character and we say we don't have a tag, we won't be able to interact with it. See? And this is just like other ways of doing it. And one last thing is interaction via line trace. So let's designate a key. So let's go into project settings, input, and action mapping, which we're gonna ACM, not AXM, action mapping, and we're gonna call it interact. And I'm just gonna put it on the F key for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm now going to oh wait, one other thing is we made an interface, and if we want to check for interface, let me just duplicate the has interface. We can just do does implement interface, and if it does, we can just interface interaction, and we can give ourselves interface interaction because we're gonna need it in a second. Interface interaction. Actually, I don't think we will need it, just other actors will need it. So if we, oh, I have still the wrong one connected. So if we go in here and has interface, we can also turn this all into variables, and we can have them change on runtime. So for example, if on runtime you have an event which says, oh, now I won't be looking for this tag anymore, I will look for another tag. So you could just simply promote this to a variable, and then on runtime change this variable. So let's say you have an event, you run it on server, you change the variable, but for that needs to be replicated. And then it can just look for another tag. I'm sorry for just skimming over that, but yeah. Now we check for interfaces. Okay. Let's unhook that stuff for now. So let's just unhook this and move you out of the way, because now we're gonna implement the interaction interface we had earlier, and we want the function. So what we want to do is we want to check if light is on. If it's on, we want to turn it off. If it's off, we want to turn it on. So let me just copy those two notes. So if it's on, we want to turn it off. If it's off, we want to turn it on. And you can add crazy code here. You can make like, you could even lerp in the color of the light so it slowly goes on, and you can make like multiple states of light so it can change colors. It's pretty much just up to your imagination. Maybe make an explanation video on that too. Okay, so if we turn the light off, the intensity is at 0. So what we're gonna do next is we go into our character, and we're gonna need our ACM interact. Then what should we go with? You always point forward, right? Let me actually visualize that in game. Alright, let's just add a camera. Like this and like this. Should. Oh yeah, I can't. Okay, never mind, never mind. Can I just get the built-in camera? Otherwise I need to really quickly do something. Get camera. Can I get the camera via get camera location? Does it print out anything? Sorry, I'm just making stuff up along the way, so let me just check. Okay, yeah, that works. Then we wanna get forward. And we wanna get well, rotation. Or just get rotation. Get it. No, not get actor rotation. Rotation, get camera rotation. And what we want to do is we want to get forward vector. And then we want a multiplier, which I'm just gonna call range. So I make a new variable in here, which is interaction range. And yeah, I'm gonna just plug this in. Every 100 units is a meter, so let's set this at 500 meters, 5 meters, and let's start doing the line trace. Line trace the channel, and the start is this, and the end will be vector plus vector in here, and for frame, actually for duration. Let's check. Yeah, that is actually what we want. Perfect. So I don't actually expect this to work. So let's split this hit struct and actually not do it that way. That just looks horrible. Recombine struct and let's break. And if we hit anything, you want to return true. So if we hit anything, we gonna get the hit actor, does implement interface, and now we can interface interaction. If true, then we want to run something different on here because we want to run it on server. So custom event, run on server, interact with actor. And if you have different interfaces, for example, you could have another chain down here, which checks, for example, for another interface. So if you have another interface and this fails, you can just check, for example, for another interface. It's that easy. And what we want here is we want the input as a actor, object reference, actor reference, and then we wanna always interact with actor right in here. And on this we want interact with item. Yeah, we need to refresh this node and we need to replug this in. Okay. And let's clear this. And if we click play, we can turn it off and on. And you definitely don't want this this line trace to be visible for in-game, so none. And something I recommend is making a HUD and making a point in the middle of the HUD so people know where they look at. And yeah, this is how we turn a light off and on. Have it overlapping, which I showed earlier. And yeah, this is just the basic way of interacting with an object. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you all to have a nice day.